been contacted by a student from Valley View Secondary out here in Kamloops, and also from somebody on the gymnastics advisory board. And I actually talked to Jody Vosper this morning, an athletic director from Sahali, and Anne-Marie Watts, who works out of Valley View, and they kind of gave a different side, talking about some of the difficulties that they've had with gymnastics. But I just wanted to ask you, where's this process at right now as far as what's happened, as far as emotion, and where's everything at right now with the gymnastics in BC school sports?
Sure. So with BC School Sports, we have 9 different zones around the province that all have representation within our legislative assembly, that being sort of the decision-making body for all things kind of policy and structure related. We received a notice of motion in accordance with the bylaws with the intent to remove gymnastics from our sort of recognized activity list. So we have 19 activities right now, gymnastics being one of those, and obviously if this was successful, then it would be kind of removed from that list. So we wouldn't offer BC School Sports wouldn't offer sort of gymnastics in the championship as we kind of have known it for the last number of years. So that has come from one of the zones, and it will be considered on the floor of the AGM with our legislative assembly next Friday, Saturday, May 12th, 13th.
Okay, and how does that actually work, that the consideration? It's a vote, I imagine, and who actually kind of votes on it? Yeah,
so the legislative assembly is 53 members. It's I don't want to get too into the weeds, but essentially each zone has 3 members, so that's 27 with the 9 zones. We have each of our partner organizations has the chair of each of our policy committees and our board of directors. So that makes up the 53 voting members, and they will vote on that.
Yeah, some of the concerns that were brought up by the advisory committee with me and the student was, well, number one, I guess communication. They weren't aware that this motion was even happening, and they felt like they hadn't been kind of contacted. And I know that they have now submitted some kind of a rebuttal and submitted their kind of side of things. So, I mean, will that be taken into consideration? What has happened from their side of things?
Yeah, no, I think that's why, we don't accept motions from the floor. Our documentation has to be out 3 weeks before the meeting, which is why, it gives a chance for people to have these conversations, because I think they're important. And, honestly, anytime you're talking about, removing the sport and potentially taking opportunities away from students, it's a worthy discussion, and it's important to have. And so, yeah, we've heard from, many people within that community that are very passionate about it, and we're making sure that we are, listening to what they're saying, and that will all kind of be brought to the Legislative Assembly for their, information prior to any decision being made.
Yeah, well, one of the concerns they have is it's a female-heavy sport, and I don't think there are too many of those. They're saying it's about 85%. I don't know if that number is exactly accurate, but it's about 85% it's female. So, they're concerned about that. I mean, does that concern you? I mean, if that is gone from high school sports, gymnastics, that they'll be disproportionately, affected?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking for ways to get, our student athletes involved, especially we know, girls ages 13 to 18, there's a huge drop off in activity and participation in sports. And so certainly that is a consideration to be made. We do, we offer gymnastics to both boys and girls. It is, it is a co-ed offered sport. Obviously, whether the 85% number is correct or not, I don't know off the top of my head, but certainly it does skew certainly more on the female side. So there is a bigger impact there. Generally speaking, we have pretty close to gender balance across the organization. In our sports, we're about 52-48 is sort of that general spot we end up, boys to girls in our sports. And so, this isn't going to, materially change that, but it is certainly a consideration when you're looking at potentially removing a sport. I think if you want to talk numbers, I think that there's two issues that have been raised by, the zone, and it's not just that zone. There's others that have expressed it too, is, gymnastics is not really done within the schools anymore. And to my knowledge, there's 4 schools that actually have an active program where they, actually have somebody designated by the school as a coach and actually train as a team. Obviously, they go off site to do so, and we have other sports that require, off site facilities. But in the vast majority of cases, it is, students that are training with a club, 100% of the time, and then for 1 or 2 days a year, they put on a school, uniform and compete in that way. And so, whether that really is a school sport at that point, when there's not, with the exception of 4 schools, so there's basically 0 school involvement, I think is one question. And then just the numbers, when you think about, we have about 78,000 student athletes across the province in our sports, about 100,000 registration if we consider many students play more than one sport. Gymnastics is less than 500 students all in across the province. And so from a percentage standpoint, it's a very low numbers. And so to be sort of offering that, and part of our organization, we have added sports in the past and we have removed sports, and as that sports evolve and as what's available in schools evolve, we constantly change with that. So we, in our nearly 60-year history, we've had bowling, we've had synchronized swimming, we've had diving, we've had table tennis. Those are all no longer sports, and over that period of time, they've been removed just for various reasons. And we've added other sports. We've added girls rugby. We've in the last 7 years since I've been around, we've added girls rugby. We've added ultimate. So we're constantly looking at ways to engage students and offer them meaningful experiences that are engaging with their school community and offer all the benefits of school sport.
Yeah, it seems to have struck a nerve with some people. I think there's a petition there, and last I checked, I think it's like 4,000 people have signed it. And on that petition, it mentions specifically for the students who, like you're saying, I think it's acknowledged that the majority of these, vast majority, are going through clubs, but there are a substantial amount of students who can't afford that, and their lone source of gymnastics is the high school system. What about them? I mean, is that a concern as well?
Of course. I mean, one of our core goals is to provide opportunities for as many kids as possible. Now, recognizing that it is still in a competitive environment. This is not, it's not intramurals, right? We encourage schools to offer as many programs, as many teams in every sport that they can, but, there is, in a lot of our sports, there are teams that have selections, tryouts, cuts, and those types of things. So it is in the competitive framework. And I think that's what brings a lot of value. So it's not just sort of purely participatory, but certainly it is a low barrier version of sports. And whenever it becomes tied to, a school, and you get that sense of belonging and creates a bit of that identity for students in school communities, it certainly brings more than just that participatory benefit. So we understand that, and we know that there are students out there that this is the best option for them in terms of participating, and so we're very cognizant of that.
This will be voted on, and the decision will be made in Whistler then at the AGM.
Yeah, next Friday, Saturday.
Next Friday, Saturday. Okay. Thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much.